Okay, so the month just ended, right?
Yes.
And even though on this channel we don't typically do real estate market updates, because this channel is about living in St. George, because the market is so changing and so dynamic right now, we are going to be doing that a lot because people have questions, right? They're wondering if the market is crashing, right? So we've got the most recent data for September, because we're in October.
Yes, we are. There you go.
So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about what that data is telling us. We're going to see, is the market crashing? What's going on? So that's what we're going to do. So stay tuned.
What's up, everybody? I'm Sean Azad.
And I'm Courtney Azad, and we're with Keller Williams Realty right here in St. George, Utah. And if this is your first time to the channel and you are, you want to know everything that there is to know about living in St. George, press the subscribe button. We know that a lot of you are watching and not subscribing, so don't forget to do that.
And click on the little bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out.
Because we update new videos every week, usually twice a week.
And if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking, wow, okay, I love St. George. I love the Red Rocks. I love the weather. I can't wait to move out there, but I don't know anything about this area. So what do I do? And I totally get that. That's why you want to reach out to us, because that way we can have that conversation and find out what your needs are. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, what you want to do is you want to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back. So I'm wondering.
Yes.
Is the market crashing?
No.
No? But are we seeing softening?
We are definitely seeing softening. We are seeing, definitely softening in demand and therefore softening in prices. For sure that's happening, but not a dramatic, crazy crash.
So why? In case people are living under a rock, why has demand softened so much?
Well, okay, so yes, if you're living on a rock, you probably went to sleep and it was 2.5% interest rates. You woke up and now it's 7%. So it has been quite the dramatic increase in interest rates. But for a lot of people, the price of the property means a little bit less than what does their monthly payment mean, because that's where you're kind of going, okay, this is my monthly outlay that I have to make to make this house happen. Plus to qualify, you're basing that off that too. So with that, properties got a heck of a lot more expensive to make payments on.
So how is this affecting the market? How many units actually sold in September versus a year earlier and then versus the month before, right?
Exactly. We're giving you two snapshots of data, right? We're going month over month and year over year.
Year over year, yeah.
So basically, let's go with month over month, just as an idea. So basically, month over month, we've had, so in September, we sold about 223 homes in Washington County in general. And then last month, that was actually, so in August, it was 319. So obviously that's a pretty dramatic change. So basically there's 96 less units that sold or about 30%, less properties actually sold in September rather than August.
Yeah, and what is that compared to a year earlier?
Yeah, so a year earlier, we actually, the act was dramatically higher. So there's 419 homes that sold. So year over year, we're down 47% as far as the number of units that actually sold in the month of September.
So what is that showing us? Is that showing us that buyers just aren't interested, or sellers don't really care, they're not selling unless they have to, or is it a little of both, or what's going on?
I would say it's both. I mean, honestly, I would say that definitely buyers are kind of okay, they were either, they've been maybe priced out of the market or at least priced out of what they were looking to buy. And so they're not so enthusiastic to get something right now, or at least at the prices that they are. So they're kind of and I think that a lot of people, they're kind of just treading water and going, okay, let's just kind of survey the situation a little bit. There's no need to jump in. FOMO is kind of a thing of the past right now. There's really, unless that perfect property hits, right? That's great. But in general, as an overall thing, buyers aren't going to just bid on any property because it's finally a property that match their most basic criteria. They're kind of a little bit more choosy about what they want. And at the same time, sellers aren't dying to sell at a fire sale price. So because they don't have to, they're locked in at low interest rates. So therefore they don't, for them to sell, well, what are they going to buy? Because that payment's probably going to be dramatically higher too. And then on top of that, they probably have a ton of equity. So again, they don't have to foreclose or do short sales, because most sellers, the vast majority, we're at huge equity levels for homes. So they don't have to sell. And then on top of that, it's okay, well, they could, at the end, they rent it out if they wanted to. So because to service that home, they're probably sitting pretty right now where they can just go ahead and rent it out and actually make some nice extra income.
So was that different from 2008? Like what happened in 2008 when?
Well, if you had a pulse, you could get a loan, and it didn't. And you had a teaser rate loan, so it wasn't even fixed rate. So we had these crazy situations happen in 2008 where you had just a dramatic level of supply hit the market.
Yeah, and but why was that? Why? Because it was
foreclosures.
Sellers,
foreclosures and short sales.
They had no equity, right?
Yeah, they bought in with zero down. Crazy levels of no income to justify that because the banks weren't even looking at their income. They were doing what they called ninja loans: no income, no asset, no job verification, which is insane. I don't know why the market crashed because, but what we say is
then they also had teaser rates, right? So they were paying payments that weren't even real.
And they were actually adding to every payment they made. If they made that minimum payment, was adding to their balance of their loan. So if you made like a $2,000 payment, you might owe $2,000 more. So it's kind of like a weird thing, but you were making artificially low payments, and that was only supposed to last for let's say a year-long period of time. So when that, what they call recast, when it kind of changed to the normal interest rate, people are like, sometimes some people feel like, I remember people coming to me and saying, my payment tripled.
These were not Sean's clients.
Yeah, unfortunately, I felt good that we didn't get into any of that stuff as far as these pay option arms and stuff. But the thing is that people did have this just shell shock of just seeing these dramatic levels increase as far as their payment is concerned. And they got in a situation where they didn't have any equity because they were underwater. And so they had to foreclose or do short sales. So what you saw, there was this ballooning of supply, and then muted demand causes the prices to dramatically correct. Now in this situation, what we're seeing is that demand is down for sure, but supply is not exploding because, again, sellers are well qualified. They had to, do these loans where they were super well qualified. Yeah. If they did a loan at all, some sellers pay cash. They just have equity. They don't have to sell. Yeah. And if they do sell, they'll sell it, more on their terms.
Yeah. I would suspect. I don't know. What would you think? That a lot of homes that at this moment on the market, sellers might just be seeing if they can get their price. Yeah. And if they can't, then they're just not going to sell.
Yeah, exactly. Or they won't take a huge haircut. They might have, there will be some softening. I think the average discount off of list price to sales price, again, this is across the board, is like $20,000. So we're not saying $50,000, $100,000 drops or whatever. We're definitely seeing some softness, but again, that's also taking account. Yeah, we had a lot of sellers that were pricing their properties based off of what was happening in the spring, and they were going, "Oh, if that property sold for $700,000, then my home can sell for $800,000." And at that time, we were like, "No, $700,000 is the limit. That's the ceiling and not the floor." So there are a lot of people that again got caught off guard with pricing their properties wrong, and so they've had to make corrections if they did want to sell.
Okay, so if we're talking about demand, right, how do you quantify demand? Is it by days on market?
So obviously that's one of them. Another one, of course, was what we talked about earlier regarding unit sales, amount of properties I've actually sold. But like you said, days on market is another one. Obviously, how long is that property sitting on the market? So basically, your average days on market is about 39 days for the properties that I've sold, and that's actually honestly not too bad. Now it has over time, so month over month. Last month it was 33 days. So we've kind of inched up 6 days for properties to be on the market.
What's year over year?
Year over year is over 100% difference because it was only 19 days. It was scorching hot a year ago, right? So it was just crazy hot. Again, but that's the exception, not the norm. This is more normal for properties to be sitting on the market for a bit longer because that's typically what real estate does. It doesn't just fly off the shelves, but we were just in such a crazy just hysteria that properties were just flying. But now, fortunately, it's getting a little bit more balanced. Things are making more sense. So we are seeing properties sitting on the market for a little bit longer, as well as obviously less unit sales. So that's kind of talking about the demand part of the equation. Now, to kind of cinch that all up, a nice little nice little bow here is that let's talk about median and sales price, because I know that's probably what a lot of you want to know. It's what does that mean as far as prices? So basically what we're seeing is that, year over year, let's just go off that. So your average sales price, and I will preface this by saying that there's a difference between the average and median. So average sales price is $662,000 for the month of September 2022. Yeah, and then for 2021, the average sales price was $545,000. So that's a huge difference. That's, like it's $117,000 more for, for your average sales price, or 21.5% higher that you're getting today than you were getting a year ago. So month over month, we're actually up about almost 5%, because, in August, we were more like, about 631,000. So again, we're up month over month about 5%, year over year about 21%. Now, I don't like average in general for pricing, because if you're comparing like the average between, let's say you have two sales, right? Average of a $500,000 sale and a $10 million sale is about $5,250,000. That's not a good indication of what the general market is, because your general market is not a $5 million home. It's probably like skewing way closer to that $500,000 property than the $5 million property, right? So, or the $10 million property. So another data point that we use, or a metric we use, is called median price, because that's the middle property. So if you had 200 properties that sold, what did the 100th property like sell for? Because that's giving you a better sense of what's going on in the general market. So so month over month, the median price point was $507,000 for September, and in like last month it was $555,000. So we're actually down $48,000, or 8.6% month over month. So again, these are with 223 sales. It's not a huge data set, but just kind of something to be mindful of. I'm not saying that the overall market's dropped 8% all completely or whatever. It's just that we are comparing though the data month over month, right? And then year over year, average median price was 507 like this last month, and then 450 the month before, and that's 12.7% more, or $57,000 more. So we're definitely up year over year. Month over month, we are down a little bit. Again, that's where that muted demand is really, again, softening the market, and that's what we're seeing. And so that's where, again, it's just it's all about how you navigate this process, right? Because you definitely don't want to price your property too high, or you're going to be sitting. Like the average days on market for properties that are sitting is way high, because, again, they just way overshot it. And again, some people don't have to sell. Like, so they, the sellers are going, it's not bothering me to have my property on the market. That's fine. But if you're looking to actually sell, that's why you want to reach out to us, so we can kind of help you navigate through the situation, because it's not like you can just stick a for sale sign on your home, like on your lawn, and it's going to be gone with like 50 offers. That time has passed. Now properties actually need to be marketed properly to sell. And if you're a buyer looking, obviously reach out to us, and we can kind of give you all the data points and kind of what's going on in the area, so we can help you find that perfect home.
So with interest rates being so high,
Yes.
like obviously we can't predict the future, right?
Yes.
We don't have a crystal ball.
I mean, I can, but that's okay.
Yeah. But anyways, like in your opinion, you've seen a lot. You've been in real estate for, honestly, I don't even know how long.
Yeah, long enough.
A long time. He's seen a lot. But anyways, what do you suspect is going to happen with interest rate? Like obviously it's super high right now, at least according to what people are used to, right?
Yeah. So like obviously, a lot of people, during the pandemic, they got, like 2.5%, 3.5% interest rates, which is crazy low. We're like at that 7% interest rate, kind of give or take, given the day, because the market's so volatile. So obviously that's a dramatic increase in interest rates, right? And that's, and it's shocked the system. I mean, obviously people are going, what's going on? And so a lot of people are kind of laying low, kind of going, okay, let's see how the dust settles, because we don't really know. And I can't tell you that we know for sure what's going to happen short and medium term. I suspect that we're going to still have elevated interest rates during the short and medium term, just because the Fed is just dead set on, getting rid of this inflation, which, again, they need to see the data. They need to be satisfied that what their efforts are doing are bearing fruit from that front. So short and medium term, I see elevated interest rates. Now, long term, this is where I personally think that we're going to see interest rates come down for a variety of different reasons. But one major one, it could be obviously it could be because the economy is softened, or the Fed has been satisfied with what the interest rates have done as far as the inflation is done. So it's come down to let's say the 2% level that they're happy with, or whatever that might be. But one major reason why I don't see interest rates staying elevated for like the foreseeable future is because the government, these higher interest rates are affecting how much the government pays on the debt that they have, right? These bonds. So the issue is that the last time we had interest rates at this level, we as the federal government, the federal government had $9 trillion of debt. We now have $30 trillion of debt. So that to service that debt is going to be incredibly expensive. So I foresee that the Fed will get some pressure if to get these rates back down lower at some point in the future. Again, could be wrong, but I'm just saying like that's just kind of, I just logically don't see how they can keep it elevated, because to service that debt would be extraordinarily expensive for the federal government. So that's what I see. And the main thing is you want to remember is that you're married to the home, you're not married to the loan. So at some point, like what a lot of buyers are doing right now is they're surveying the situation. They're seeing that they're not in a crazy, like, oh, I have to way overbid for a property. I'm like going up against like 50 other offers. That time is, we're not really dealing with that situation, right? I mean, you might have these
Hopefully
weird.
never again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
It's not good. It's not a healthy market.
It's not a healthy market, but at the same time, well, there'll probably be times. I mean, that's how these things go. So let's be real. It's probably going to happen again at some point, but that's not what we are dealing with now. Right now, buyers can finally find, let's say, that home. They're not getting into these crazy bidding wars. They're probably getting some concessions from the seller because the market is a little bit softer. So it kind of works out that way. And then at the same time, while they're paying elevated rates for now, potentially at some point in the future when interest rates do come down, which I would imagine they would, again, don't know for sure, but let's just kind of seems like that at some point they probably will, that they can refinance their property and then kind of bring that back down their rates to a more reasonable level.
So that's it. That's our video.
And remember, we are licensed realtors in the state of Utah. So as much as we do love making these videos, what we love more is to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, what you want to do is you want to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back.